Good morning. I'm driving to the VA to get my COVID-19 test done. I have a procedure tomorrow and I have to have positive results or confirmation that I don't have COVID. So they get to stick the 9-inch Q-tip in my face and see if I have it or not. They're gonna have a hell of a time though, because I got wicked allergies and a deviated septum, and my sinuses are always like just closed shut. So hope they have a hammer to pound that freaking Q-tip in there. Anyways, I had a customer tell me that maybe I should do some stories about car stuff instead of just the normal rants or tuning lectures and that kind of stuff. And he's right. So I figured I would start from the beginning and tell you the story of how I got my second speeding ticket at the age of 17. My second one. First one was garbage. I didn't deserve that at all. It was a speed trap. It was a speed limit changed in the middle of a downhill area, and a cop was sitting right there by the sign behind a bush. It was stupid, and he pulled me over. It was a total dick move. I had to come around the corner down the hill, speed limit changes, whatever. But the second one, I completely deserved. I had a 1973 Pontiac Grand Am. My dad blew it up when I was like 13 or so, and then built the engine for it. It was about, I believe it was 12.5 to 1 compression. It was really high compression. It would ping like crazy if you didn't put the best fuel you could in there. And even with the highest octane at the pump, it's still pinging. It had a 320 duration cam in it. At idle, the seats would rattle. It was so lumpy. It was a 455 bored 30 over, so it's like 462 cubes. Pontiac and Edelbrock Performer RPM manifold, intake manifold on it. Had a tuned exhaust and a 4-barrel carb on it. The thing ripped. I mean, the car was gigantic. The car, I measured it when I was a kid. It was 17 feet 8 inches long. It was this huge boat. It was the first year the Pontiac Grand Am came out, and it was supposed to be like a European cruiser, touring car. It was 17 feet 8 inches long. Big fucker. But did 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds. So it had some poop behind it. It was no dog, that's for sure. And it was the fastest car in school. Anyone that would race me lost, and I drove that thing like a fucking idiot. Being 17 and full of testosterone and completely empty of common sense, I drove the thing like an idiot. Should have been dead. Probably almost killed my friends a bunch of times. Who knows? It was. I had luck on my side and maybe skill. I could make it do whatever I wanted to do, sideways, backwards, forwards, whatever. It's kind of the reason why I'm a tuner and why I'm so addicted to cars and shit. Anyways, the thing was fast. It sounded amazing and ran damn good. Anyways, I had just finished banging my girlfriend and I was trying to get back to work, or get to work on time, and I had 9-inch Nails, Closer to God playing, and I'm doing about 65 and a 55, nothing too crazy, and on a country road, and there's an underpass that goes under the freeway, and it was a 505 between like Dixon and Woodland or some shit like that, or Winters, and this guy runs the stop sign at the end of the off-ramp right in front of me, and I almost fucking T-boned him. Luckily the car handled pretty well. I freaking threw the car sideways around the dude and was instantly pissed off because, I'm a kid, and I smashed the throttle to the floor, and I just take off, and I'm doing, well, the speedometer was buried. I have no idea how fast I was going. The speedometer went to 120. I was past the 120, down by the odometer, pointing straight down, probably like a $140 or so. And I'm just ripping now down this long straight road out in the middle of nowhere. And there's one car, and I'm overtaking him. And as I overtake him, now mind you, I'm speeding, right? But I always use my blinker. I always make complete stops. Like it was a weird kind of paradigm, my driving habits. So I hit my blinker to pass him. As I'm passing him, and I right blinker, get back in front of him. I look in my rearview mirror, verify he's behind me. But I'm doing a $140. Obviously, he's fucking behind me. But it was my habit, and I always did it. I was over my shoulder, mirror, and everything. And as I'm pulling right in front of him, I noticed a white car pulling out that looked like it could have been a cop car. Knowing now it was, but I didn't know at the time. And so I'm doing this $140 plus down the road, and it comes to a T. So I slow down, complete stop, use my blinker, look both ways, hang a right, hang an immediate left on the next road, in a windy section, closer to God, you know, I'm freaking weaving in and out of the lines on the road. That song ends. Lenny Kravitz, Are You Gonna Go My Way was the next song. I got that shit cranked. Are you gonna go my way? I'm jerking the wheel back and forth. I'm weaving in and out of the lines on the road, the little dashes right in the center line. I'm doing about 85 miles an hour, just fucking cranking on my way to work, having a good fucking time. And I see a car coming the other way. So I get back in my lane. I'm just doing 85 now. Again, it's a 55, right? And the car pulls over. And I'm like, oh shit, I wonder if that car needs help. I mean, we're in the middle of nowhere. That guy might be in trouble. So I put on the brakes to slow down to see if I can help the guy. And I look mirror to mirror, and there's a sheriff on my fucking bumper. Like, I didn't know he was back there. He was right on my bumper. The lights going. I'm like, oh shit! Like, there's a fucking cop behind me. So I pulled over. And I'm like, oh my god, how long has that guy been there? Like, I had no idea he was behind me. Apparently, I was antagonizing him in and out of the fucking lines on the road, weaving in and out while he was right behind me. Like, holy shit! So I pull over. He comes to my window, and he is hot, man. He is pissed. This big, huge, fat dude named Jose Cuevas. That was his name. I'll never forget it. And I roll the window down, and he looks at me, and he realizes I'm a kid, and he just blows up at me. He starts screaming at me. What the fuck are you doing? How fast are you going? Do you fucking realize you could kill people? He's like in my face about it. And he looks at me, he's like, answer my fucking question. And I'm like thinking, which one? You know, I'm scared now. I'm fucking shaking. And he's like, how fast were you going? I was like, I don't know, 85? And he was like, not back there, back there! You know, and he's like screaming way back there. And I was like, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? I'm doing 110 and I can't catch you. You're leaving me behind, getting smaller on the horizon. He's screaming at me some more, and I'm like, I don't know. My speedometer only goes to 120, and I was down here somewhere, right? I'm like, I don't know. And he fucking like, he stops yelling at me just to laugh for a split second, and he's like, I was doing 110, I couldn't catch you. God damn it, I'm writing you a speeding ticket for 110, and he's yelling at me and shit. I'm like, I'm sorry. And he walks off, takes my information, goes back to his car. And I'm sitting there like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I was like, I'm so screwed. I'm on my way to work, right? I'm so screwed, but at least, thank God, at least it's a sheriff and not one of my hometown cops is all I could think. And I could see my hometown, the overpass to my hometown is just like another mile down the road is the overpass, and then it's my town. And just as I think that, I see two fucking cop cars from Dixon come flying over the overpass. Full code, lights and sirens going, phew, phew, right towards me. I'm like, son of a bitch. Like, he called in a high-speed chase, and they're gonna assist him, you know, because they're in their boring ass hometown, nothing going on. They're gonna assist him in his high-speed chase and intercept this car. And it's just fucking me. And of course the cops know who I am, and I know who they are, and they come tearing in, skidding in behind the sheriff, behind us. And I'm like, oh no, now they know. So they get out of their cars and they're talking to the sheriff for a while, and they're back there laughing about shit. And I never turned my car off. My car's still running. And finally, one of them that we used to call Rat Boy, his face is kind of pointy. I don't remember his actual name, O'Malley or some shit like that. He gets up at the car. He's like, "Hey, Dom." I'm like, "Hey, officer." I think it was a Miley. That sounds right. He's like, "What you doing?" It's like, "I'm headed to work." He's like, "You still work at Chevy's?" "Yes, sir." He's like, "Jose says you're going pretty fast." And I was like, "Yes, sir." He's like, "How fast were you going?" I was like, "I don't know." He's like, "What do you mean you don't know?" I'm like, "Speedometer only goes to 120, and I was down here by the odometer numbers." He starts laughing. He's like, "I just wanted to hear you say it. Jose told me that's what you said." And I was like, "Oh man, now they're fucking having a fucking great time with my ass." So eventually, sheriff comes back up, gives me my ticket. It says paced at 110 plus plus plus. Is what it said on the ticket. And the officer goes, "Each plus is 10 miles an hour, because I'm pretty sure you're doing about $1.40. I was like, "Yes, sir." And so the ticket was 100 into 55, paced at 110 plus plus plus. So he had the ability to only write me up for what he wanted to cite me for, but in the notes commented that I was clearly going way more than the 100 he cited me for. And so he gives me my ticket, and he's like, "All right, go to work." And I pulled over on some gravel because it was on the country, right, on the shoulder, and I put it in gear, and that car didn't go anywhere without burning out. Like, the throttle was so touchy, it burned out from almost every stop. Like, it was ridiculous. And so I put it in gear, and I'm like, fuck. I get a little bit of throttle. I just slide the tires, just spin. Every time I just barely touch the throttle. And I was like, God, I'm just trying to go to work. Spitting rocks on the sheriff's car. I'm like, God damn it, I'm just trying to leave. And then I get on the road and I drive my ass to work. And I was late. Of course, I was late. And my boss was like, so you're late, right? I'm like, "I'm sorry, man, I got pulled over." He's like, "You did, huh?" So, "Yeah, I was driving too fast." He's like, "How fast were you driving?" I was like, "Pretty fast." He goes, "No, come on, man, tell me. I'm like, "I don't want to tell you, man." He's like, no, tell me, I want to know." And I'm like, "Well, he wrote me for 100, but it says here," I pulled the ticket out, "Pace at 110 plus plus plus." And he's like, he just starts laughing. I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Oh man, you got me beat." You got me beat. And I was like, "Oh fuck." And I didn't get in trouble. Like, he was totally cool with it. But I definitely got in trouble with my parents. They didn't know right away. But they ran into Officer O'Malley, and he was sure to tell them that they caught me, that they were there when I got my ticket. My dad was like, "What ticket?" I think it was like 2 days later, like, they found out. And then I lost my license right in the middle of summer. Like, nothing happened. I pled guilty to it and paid my fine. And then I get this letter right as the school year is ending, and it says, "We've take your license for 30 days in the middle of summer," which is clearly intentional, because I got the ticket back in like November, right? But they waited and they said, "For this month, you're gonna have no license." 17-year-old kid screwing off in his car, going in the summertime, gonna definitely wreak havoc on the freaking highways. And so they took my license in the middle of summer for a month, which coincidentally is when I moved to Idaho permanently, and got an Idaho license immediately. So no spending license. California. Anyways, that was my second speeding ticket, and first, I guess, speeding ticket story. And that car was really cool. I miss that car. It was ugly as shit. If you look up 73 Pontiac Grand Am, it's the 4-door sedan one. 7.4 liter tags on the back. A really weird nose that was made of this special polyurethane rubber that was new back then. They used to have commercials where the DeLorean used to work for Pontiac and GM. He designed the front end, and he was hitting it with a sledgehammer, and he was showing off how durable the front end was. Well, that stuff wasn't that durable in the 90s when it was made in 73. This stuff was super brittle by then, and parts of it were starting to break off. And so if you look at pictures of 73 Grand Ams now, a lot of them are either missing that rubber nose or they have chunks missing out of it. It wasn't very durable after 20 something years. I guess it's only 20 years really. Yeah. But that was a cool car. I never forget. Gross weight 5,541 pounds. What said on the tag. 7.4 liters, 17 feet 8 inches long. The dyno sheet for the engine said it was like 540 horsepower at the crank, which on a big boat like that, it's about 400 something at the wheels. That thing was a tank. So instead of 60 in 4.5 seconds, I think it was 4.3 is what we logged it at multiple times with 2 guys in the car with me. We were doing stopwatching, nail it, hit 60, hit the stopwatch again. It was like 4.3 seconds consistency with me and 2 guys in the car. So that thing ripped. It was a good time. And it was like effortless to drift that baby. Just no matter what, you throw it sideways. Had a 356 posi in the rear, a Turbo Hydra 400 transmission, had a shift kit in it. It shifted beautifully. It like read your mind, always shifted when you wanted it to. It was awesome. It was an awesome car, and it was a hell of a first car. But my firsts are always, trial by fire. My first motorcycle was a 1984 CR500 that my dad had built for racing, and he was winning races all the time with this CR500. And if you know what that is, it's a 500cc two-stroke. And the 84 was the last year of air-cooled two-strokes. They went to water-cooled for only a few years, and then they outlawed the 500cc two-stroke in any motocross event. They were just too fucking big and powerful, and they outlawed them. So 250 became the new class. And yeah, anyways, that thing was a riot, and that thing was way too fast for me. That's the bike I learned to ride motorcycles on. No torque down low, pipey as hell, all the power, big freaking bike, and I only weighed like $135 when I was learning to ride it. So I was a little kid on a gigantic bike that was sprung heavier for my dad. It was quite heavier than I was at the time, and built for a race. So it was high compression, 2-stage reed valve, freaking Mikuni 38B square slide carburetor. I can't believe I still remember that. Yeah, I think it was inverted forks, front shocks that were aftermarket. Like, it was all set up, and here I was trying to ride it for my first time, and the first time that sucker got on pipe, I looked like a flagpole. Going by, feet behind me, just trying to hold on the handlebars. That thing was a rocket ship. But all my firsts like that have been ridiculous, and so everything after that just feels slow. So everything I have now just has to be fast. That's just plain and simple the way it is. My dad came out to visit me last year, and we were driving in one of my slower cars, and actually I think I let him drive it, and he went down the freeway, and we both were like, "Bump!" And he was like, he stopped and he goes, "Holy shit, son, do you have anything that isn't fast?" And I was like, why? Why would I do that? No, of course not. That's silly. But I have nothing that's fast. I mean, this thing is 36 miles per gallon. Why do I need, something slow? So is my BMWs, I think. But yeah, it was pretty funny. So speed's in my blood, I guess you could say. That and driving like a fucking idiot, apparently. I got over that, thankfully. But man, I had some stupid close calls in that car, and some others. And I'll save those stories for another day. I just got to the VA. My stories are done. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good one.